The Holy Roman Empire was a staple of European politics throughout the entirety of the Middle Ages. Its emperors held positions of immense influence which they maintained until 1806 when Napoleon happened. Yet, given the importance of the Holy Roman Empire historically, why was it dissolved? Why did the Holy Roman Empire come to an end, and why did nobody do anything about it? So, by 1806, Europe had been plagued by near-constant war with France for over a decade, and Napoleon, now the Emperor of France, had plans to reforge Europe in France's image and interests. Strangely enough, many of Europe's rulers opposed this, and so were currently fighting a war against France as a coalition to crush Napoleon once and for all, but fun fact, no. Napoleon and his generals had routinely defeated the coalition allies, and in 1805 they thoroughly crushed the Austrians at the Battle of Austerlitz. Soon after this, Austria made peace with France, and Napoleon was essentially given free rein to rearrange Central Europe how he pleased. This led to him creating the Confederation of the Rhine the next year, which was a collective of German states who in return for some territorial consolidation were to be French puppets and fight when Napoleon asked. Furthermore, Napoleon granted himself the title of Protector of the Confederation of the Rhine. And to many, this second power structure within the Holy Roman Empire was essentially its practical end, since their allegiance was now to Paris and not Vienna. The current Holy Roman Emperor, Francis II, believed that Napoleon was coming for his title. As such, Francis did the only thing that he could. He announced his abdication, and as his last act he dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. Whilst he absolutely had the right to do the abdicating bit, it was less clear whether or not he had the authority to abolish the empire as a whole. Despite the fact it was a grey area, end the empire did. So why did everyone just go along with it? The reason why other German states and rulers were fine with it was that the title of Holy Roman Emperor was by this point ceremonial. The Holy Roman Emperor couldn't levy armies, prevent his subjects from making foreign alliances, or even stop a certain naughtier subject from warring against the emperor himself if they wanted to. The fact was that the existence of the Holy Roman Empire was by and large irrelevant to the everyday running of its constituent states. And for the remaining German rulers in the Confederation of the Rhine, the new system had just allowed them to swallow up some of their smaller neighbours with no problems. So for them, it was definitely a win, even if Napoleon had more oversight than the emperor did. So what about Napoleon, the only man who could have, if he wished, simply declared the empire to still exist? Well, whilst he could have taken the title for himself, he had no reason to. The Confederation of the Rhine was largely a buffer state against Austria, Prussia and Russia, whereas maintaining the Holy Roman Empire wouldn't have provided the same security because Prussia and Austria could potentially tip the internal balance of power. He also had no reason to oppose its abolition and the end of the empire. His new Europe didn't need what many saw as a bloated, inefficient relic of the medieval era. And importantly, without a Holy Roman Emperor who also held the title of king in Germany, there was no central figure that the German states could rally around and oppose him. Now, they had to side with either himself, the King of Prussia, or the Emperor of Austria. And of those last two, those in the Confederation of the Rhine had no reason to side with Austria, whereas many of them had much to fear from Prussia. And so, the Holy Roman Empire died. Not with any fanfare or conflict, but simply because nobody cared enough to save it. The last emperor declared his title abolished, and ultimately, nobody else wanted it. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching, with a special thanks to my patrons: James Bisonet, Kelly Moneymaker, Marvin Cassow, Mo, Aaron the White, James Castaneda, Marcus Arsner, Jordan Longley, Gustav Swan, Rashid Ali, Jerry Lambden, Maggie Paxkowski, Copper Tone, Winston Kaywood, Spencer Lightfoot, Robert Wetzel, Spinning Three Plates, Corshow Wolfe, Matthew Shipley, Anthony Beckett and Charles the First.